Nothing really from Trump surprised me. I was fairly, I guess I wasn't surprised at the lack of journalistic pushback. So I'm going to do the pushing back since George Stephanopoulos couldn't be bothered. I tweeted out, in some areas, I was pleasantly surprised that George Stephanopoulos, ABC's wildly overpaid anchor, was decent pushback. But for the most part, Trump got away with hot air, nonsense, substanceless hot air balloons, and lies, of course. So I'm going to put on a little journalistic display if you'd allow me. I don't know if I'd ever get in front of Donald Trump to ask him any questions, but if I did, I think you'd see a very, very different outcome, I could humbly say. So the first clip I want to play just teeters on the total bizarre.
The wearing of masks has proven to lessen the spread of COVID. Why don't you support a mandate for national mask wearing? And why don't you wear a mask more often?
Well, I do wear them when I have to and when I'm in hospitals and other locations. But I will say this. They said at the Democrat convention they're going to do a national mandate. They never did it because they've checked out and they didn't do it. And a good question is you ask, like Joe Biden, they said we're going to do a national mandate on masks.
He's called on all governors to have them. It is a state responsibility.
No, but he didn't do it. I mean, he never did it. Now, there is, by the way, a lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example,
Who are those people?
Well, I'll tell you who those people are. Waiters, they come over and they serve you and they have a mask. And I saw it the other day where they were serving me. And they're playing with a mask. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying what happens. They're playing with a mask, so the mask is over, and they're touching it, and then they're touching the plate. That can't be good. There are a lot of people. If you look at Dr. Fauci's original statement, you look at a lot of people, CDC, you look at a lot of people's original statement, they said very strongly, George, don't wear masks. Then all of a sudden they went to wear masks. The concept of a mask is good, but it also does, you're constantly touching it, you're touching your face, you're touching plates. There are people that don't think masks are good.
So, where do you even begin? Where do you even begin? First of all, to state the obvious, he says at the Democratic National Convention, they said they're going to do a national mask mandate, but they never did it. Who's going to do the mandate? Joe Biden's not president. I mean, this is kind of obvious. I'm not like defending Joe Biden, but like, he just says that bizarro world, up is down things. What does that even mean? Where is George Stephanopoulos to say, what are you talking about? Joe Biden can't make any decisions right now. He's not the president. You are the president. And by the way, George Stephanopoulos, incorrect. It's not a state level thing. Trust me. Does Donald Trump look like somebody that follows the Constitution or law rigidly? If the president wanted to issue a national mask mandate, he could do it. And there are specific laws citing pandemics, citing health disasters, that presidents and the federal government supersede state law. So when Stephanopoulos says, oh no, Biden's recommending the states do it, first of all, that's not what Biden said. Biden was asked, if your health expert said, we need to do a national mask mandate, would you do it? Or would you shut down the country? And he said yes. That's accurate. But number one, Stephanopoulos just lets him get away with saying this nonsense and creating this. It's not even reality. That's where a journalist says, what are you talking about, Mr. President? Joe Biden has no power to issue a mask mandate right now. You do, but you're deflecting onto Joe Biden didn't follow through with his promise to issue a mask mandate. Are you breaking news tonight that Joe Biden is the shadow president and he has power right now? What are you even talking about? So that was number one. And of course, George Stephanopoulos These corporate journalists are only going to go up so far.
But we're very proud of the job we've done, and we've saved a lot of lives, a tremendous number of lives.
Mr. President, you mentioned a number of things. So let's talk about the mortality first, because you said we're doing better in mortality than other countries. But here's this chart right here. It shows the United States is right here. This is number of deaths per million residents. Here's Western Europe here, Canada, way down there. We're not at the top of the list.
The excess mortality rate is among the best in the whole world, George. I mean, I can show you. There's a chart that just came out a little while ago. Excess mortality rate is compared to Europe, compared to other places, it's about 25% better. In one case, it's over 60% better. And we also have a very big country. You know, we're talking about a lot bigger than most countries. When you look at testing, just as an example, when India does 40 million less tests than us, they have 1.5 billion people. China, you don't get the accurate numbers out of China, but China, they lost a lot of people. They just don't say what they lost.
We have 4% of the world's population, more than 20% of the cases, more than 20% of the deaths.
Well, we have 20% of the cases because of the fact that we do much more testing. If we wouldn't do testing, you wouldn't have cases. You would have very few cases.
As you know, Dr. Fauci says
well,
that's not true. These are actual cases.
Well, Dr. Fauci said we've done a fantastic job. He just said it yesterday, actually. He said we've done a fantastic job, that we didn't mislead anybody. Now, I'm not going to make people feel like I want to look. We're the leader of a great country. We want to keep it that way. I don't want to scare people. I don't want to make people panic. And you're not going to go out and say, oh, this is death, death, death. You have to run a country. We're in a country. We got hit by something very unfairly.
Am I in the Twilight Zone? Am I in the Twilight Zone here? First of all, here's an obvious point, and maybe George Stephanopoulos, if he gets another try at the bat. You say you don't want to panic people. Before the midterm elections in 2018, you were screaming, ranting, and raving that the caravans are coming to get you. The immigrant caravans are coming. Lock your children. Lock your daughter. Bolt the doors. The caravans are coming. You've been screaming and ranting for weeks about Antifa. Panic. You've been screaming and ranting about Joe Biden is gonna, you're gonna have to lock your door if Joe Biden becomes president. And you don't like to panic people? Like, these are basic, obvious things that no journalist points out. This man is a walking panic meter. He is a walking bullshit artist. Yet, George Stephanopoulos doesn't push back on him. The other thing is, he's mastered this talking point, and nobody really pushes back. Mr. President, what are you talking about? We have more cases because we test more? What does that mean? So, we test more, which isn't even that true, but putting that aside, okay, but we're not testing everybody, so the fact is, there are whether these cases are because we're testing more or not, we have more cases. So there are also plenty of other cases that are not popping up because majority of people are not tested. So what does this talking point even mean? And the bottom line is, whether it's through testing or not testing, why do we have all these cases? Does it have anything to do with the fact that in March and April, you did not do a national lockdown, which Italy did, which France did, Israel did, other European and Middle Eastern countries did? They didn't have different states doing different things, and this state did this, and this state did this. They all, the nation locked down. Is that why we have so many cases? Because you allowed this makeshift system where different states were going to do different things, and now you talk about Democratic-run cities versus Republicans? It's all bonkers. Why are there so many cases showing up? If it's because of testing, so be it. Why are so many people testing positive? Because without a vaccine, during your words, deadly airborne illness. That was on the Bob Woodward's tapes. You called it a deadly airborne illness. You did nothing. You didn't shut down the country. Yeah. You allowed for different states to do different things. It was in your purview. It's within your legal right during a pandemic, a national health emergency, to say, for X amount of time, can't leave your house. Only people that could leave the house are essential workers, food delivery, nurses, that kind of thing. Period. If you do so, you're getting arrested. Civil libertarians, come at me. I don't really care.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.